Aquarius, welcome to March. So, Aquarius, there's not a ton of activity for you this month, and I think that's good news. You already have to deal with Pluto in your sign. You've got like 19 years and counting till it moves out of your sign. So, we'll just leave you at that. You're dealing with Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, power, death and rebirth. It rules sex, all that stuff. Okay, so that's going on. Now, you do have a nice trine going on with Jupiter. Jupiter's hanging out in the air sign of Gemini. You're in air sign Aquarius. So you have this positive triangle going on. Now, Jupiter was retrograding for a while. And so now it went direct. I think it started retrograding in October of 24. And it went direct the end of February 23rd. So this nice trine with the planet of luck and blessings is going to be a good thing for you. Now, you do also have a square going on with Uranus in the fixed sign of Taurus. You are a fixed sign, Aquarius. But this has been happening for so long, you're not even going to really notice the difference, okay? So that being said, let's look and see what cards we have for you this month.
Okay, Aquarius. So this is your zodiac spread for the month of March. I put a card for each zodiac house. I have not looked at any of these cards. So let's start off with, I put one theme card in the middle. Okay, let's see what you got for your theme card. You got the Holy King, card number 9. This is the Hermit. Now, remember, this is the card of the year this year because 2025 equals the number 9. So you've got this energy of the year showing up prominently for you here. Now, it's interesting how you can see the little house back here. It's like he's gone out and he's taken his time alone to listen to his inner voice, to be guided forward. I've heard also too that the Hermit often has like a group of people behind him that you can't see because he's a leader. Right? He's Virgo energy. So he needs quiet time to analyze and to hear his inner voice. Okay. Because he leads people. He's your inner guide. He leads you forward. Okay. So major arcana as a theme, the lovely Hermit. Now let's go house by house here for the month of March. We're starting off with the first house. This is Aries house. This is ruled by the planet Mars. We know Mars was retrograding since October till the end of February. It's finally direct, the planet of motivation. So this is the house of like your childhood. It's the house of like your brain development, your birth into being a child. It rules your head, and it's associated with like your public image, okay? So the Six of Wands is showing up here. This card has come out so many times in these readings. So there's something very triumphant here. It's like a royal procession. Six of Fire, Six of Wands in a fire house. Six is a number of moving forward. So we see that if that's your public image, you are being very well received, okay? Now, we're going into the second house, which is Taurus's house. This is the house, Venus's house. Venus ruled. We know we're in a Venus retrograde this whole month. This is the house of value, especially your self-value. This is a house of money, right? Your relationship with money. And you have the Seven of Visions or the Seven of Cups from this Forest of Enchantment deck. Now, 7 is a number of overcoming obstacles to move forward. 7 of Visions kind of looks like things are really cloudy. Okay, there's a lot of factors going on. 7 of Cups, this is traditionally 7 of Cups. 7 of Cups is when there's a lot of choices, but we have to use feeling to trust because we're not exactly sure. There's not a lot of clarity, okay? So you want to trust your bodies, your intuition, the deep feeling. Now, we're moving into the third house. This is Gemini's house. This is the house of communication. It has themes about how you think, how you communicate, how you learn. And it also has to do with your environment, the people around you. And we have this beautiful Queen of Cups here. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so this is from the Impressionist Tarot. And the Impressionist Tarot, it's not one I use a lot. I was saying earlier how I use my pendulum to choose decks. And I had to go through so many decks before my pendulum said yes. And it picked this Impressionist Tarot. And so let's look and see what the Impressionist Tarot has to say to us. So this is a Claude Monet painting. And it says, you don't absorb a landscape in a day. You don't absorb a landscape in a day, right? Taking time out to just kind of savor it all and take it all in. She looks really joyful, really simple beauty. And so it says here, with all that water coursing through her veins, the Queen of Cups is an ideal woman. For many, she represents the perfect wife and mother until she starts to smother her loved ones with affection. That's interesting. Okay, so in your third house, the third house of your environment, you got mom energy there. You've got the Queen of Cups, and this could be that you are nurturing others, that you're kind of taking it all in. She looks like she's alone, unless the person who's taking her picture maybe is with her. She's savoring the beauty around her. She's got the whole ocean around her. Okay, so yes, you just want to definitely take a look at like if you're kind of smothering other people, right? So keep that in mind. Now, fourth house, this is Cancer's house. This is the house of the home, the root chakra, kind of like the family life. This is the house of I feel. Okay, and let's see what you got going on in there. We have the Starlight card. So your first major arcana is showing up here in the fourth house. This is traditionally called the Star card. This is a card of your hopes and your dreams. It's usually the Star comes in after we've had like a little bit of a purging and things have been cleared out of our way. And they're just stargazing. So at the bottom here, you kind of have like the Queen of Cups just taking in all the beauty of her environment, really enjoying it, getting out there in nature. And then in the fourth house, which has a lot of themes of how you nurture yourself and how you feel, we see your own card, Aquarius. The Star is an Aquarian card, and they're out there just taking in the environment. So I see a lot of nature loving in the daytime, in the nighttime. You've also got, you know, the Hermit out here in the snow. So there's a lot of nature involved here that's going to comfort you. And the Star is also looking at the bigger picture, your hopes and your dreams. So you may be looking at like, where do I want to live in the bigger picture? What will bring me comfort long term? Maybe the environment you're living in now works and you're taking it in, but maybe it's not long term. Okay. Now let's move into Leo's house, the house of creativity, the house of romance, house of children, because they have so much joy. This house is associated with the term I will. Okay. Leo's house. And you've got the Weaver of Visions. And you know who the Weaver of Visions is? It's the Queen of Cups again. And this is from the Forest of Enchantment deck. So you've got the Queen of Cups both surrounding you on both sides here of the house of the family. So maybe feeling mom, you may be feeling your mother a lot these days. You may have really creative energy because the Queen of Cups is so creative. All right. And there's kind of a flow to it. And I'm never sorry to see the royal cards. So there's a lot of queen energy here. All right. Now, we go into the sixth house, which is Virgo's house. And this is the house of your health and your routines and your habits and your mental health. It's considered to be the house of your day job. It's also the house of service versus servitude. It's associated with the term I analyze, because Virgo's the great analyzer of the zodiac. Remember, we have a Virgo full moon this month on the 14th, and that comes along with a lunar eclipse that's going to help purge us. And you can go back to the March month ahead video to hear more about that. And in your sixth house, you have the Lady and the Lord. And this is the Lover's card. Okay. Now this has like Beltane kind of aspects to it, which is a celebration of the Lady and the Lord. This almost is like the Empress and the Emperor together. Okay, so you got a major arcana. It's your second major arcana that showed up, your major teacher cards, your fated cards. And so there's some really reciprocal energy there with the Lady and the Lord holding hands, moving together, forward together. There's a lot of things about like scheduling your relationship, making sure that you have those times together, maybe taking a walk out in nature. And also, this is traditionally, the Lover's card is traditionally called the card of choices, okay? So you may have some work choices, you may have some scheduling choices, but make sure that you maintain the relationships that you want to maintain. And so now we've had a major arcana in the 4th house, the house of the home, Cancer's house, and the 6th house, Virgo's house. So that's where the attention is really like, those are like the pointers, okay? Now, 7th house, relationship house, Libra's house, Venus ruled, right? Venus is in its retrograde. On this sheet, it says legal issues. I've been saying that I'd rather call this legal matters because who needs issues? We want legal matters. We want good contracts coming in. We have the 4 of visions, the 4 of cups. It's looking a little sad. It's looking like a little bored. And that's a kingfisher bird down at the bottom, which is like a rare bird. And that's like a dragonfly up there. He's not even noticing. He's so caught up in his own stuff. Okay, so pay attention to the opportunities around you. You may have more opportunities than you're giving yourself credit for. There may be some opportunities because this is a house of relationships. Relationships isn't just love. It's work. It's financial opportunities. So you want to I know it's easy to be sad and you've got the Queen of Cups twice and that's a lot of emotion, but you don't want to forget. You don't want to be so caught up in sadness that you're not looking at the opportunities around you, okay? Even though the 4 of visions, the 4 of cups, sometimes 4 is a pause number, but I would start to take in your environment a little bit more. Now, in the 8th house, we're moving into Scorpio's house. This is the house of power. This is the house of death and rebirth. And on this sheet, it says joint finances, taxes, sex, and death. What a house, Scorpio's house, okay? But I think of it as a house of power. And let's see what you got there. This is the Salvador Dali tarot, which I don't use much, but it wanted to be here. Oh, this is great. This is the King of Coins, King of Pentacles. And that's Dali, I think, right there. I think he put himself, whoever made this deck must have put him in here, okay, as the King of Pentacles. And I got to tell you, I got to tour his house in Spain and his museum, and I don't think he had any financial problems. So the King of Coins is showing up in your 8th house, which is the house of inheritances. It's the house of other people's money and combined monies. And the King of Coins is a beautiful placement right there. Now, remember, Dali, he is a big weirdo, I mean, other than the fact that I think he might have been a communist, but we won't go into that. It was very early, I don't know exactly his whole history, but I do know that he was his unique self, okay? When you go up to his museum has all these little it's decorated all outside and it has these little symbols on it. And I got closer to it. I'm like, what are those symbols? They were dog poop. They were piles of dog poop. That's what he has all over the outside of his museum because he has such a sense of humor. When you tour that museum, I think he laid it out intentionally so you get lost. Okay, it's wild. It's like a wild ride of trying to find your way through that museum. So when you see the King of Coins and you see Salvador Dali himself on this card, he did it his way. He didn't try to please others. And Aquarius, I wouldn't doubt that he was an Aquarius. Now I have to look it up. Because Aquarius, you're not going to like people please and do things the way that other people do it. You're going to do it different and unique. And so here you are, your money, your power, your sex life, you can do it your way. Okay, King of Coins, great card. We go into Sagittarius's house here, the house of freedom, house of the higher mind, the house of the student and the teacher. It's associated with religion or the opposite, breaking free from religion. It's a house of teaching, publishing, and it's a house of foreign travel. 5 of Cups comes in here. This is the horsetail plant, which I am not familiar with. But I do see that 2 cups are spilled, which is interesting because usually it's 3 cups spilled and 2 standing. This one has 3 cups standing and 2 spilled. So there's some relationships that may have fallen apart. And also it's a 2 in this house of travel. So you may have had a trip planned or something, and maybe you're not taking that. Okay, maybe you had some relationship breakup that changed some of your plans. Maybe your higher mind was revealed to you what was actually going on with this person. So this is a little bit of grieving, But there's 3 cups still standing. There's other joys still available. Okay, so yeah, I do get like an emotional vibe for you this month with all these Queens of Cups. It's 5 of Cups, 7 of Cups, but 4 of Cups. But I also see a lot of power here. You got to get clear on your uniqueness and doing it your way. Now, into the 9th house, which is, or I'm sorry, 10th house, which is Capricorn's house. It's the house of your long-term standing in this world. It's Saturn's house, and it's associated with the term I use, okay, where the one before Sagittarius was I see, and I think you're getting some real clarity in those relationships. Scorpio is I desire. I think I forgot to say these. So I am for the first, I have for the second, I think for the third, I feel for the fourth, I will for the fifth, I analyze for the sixth, I balance for the seventh, I desire for the eighth, I see for the ninth, and now we move into the 10th. I use, okay, because it's like material goods, you know, it's all like earthy stuff because it's Capricorn's house. So your card for this house is the Earth Mother. This is the Empress, okay? So you got a major arcana here in the 10th house. She's pregnant. You know, I think of the 10th house as like your legacy. So it's almost like your family. And we don't have to take that card as a literal baby. We can see something giving birth. Okay, this could be really career related. You got a lot going on with career, but do be careful about fertility because it is, you know, the house of your legacy, and you got a big pregnant woman there, and you had the Lovers. So just be aware of that. But I'm seeing it as really positive financial matters, okay? And up at the top here, this is what's raining down on the chart. This is midheaven in the chart. So you got the Empress and the 5 of Cups. So you may have some sorrow, but you have things ready to change. Some good things coming in. Now, the 11th house is your property, Aquarius. It's the house of your hopes and your dreams. Aquarian energy is like newness, so it's like new technology, bigger picture, things you couldn't even imagine. And also it's your friends and your social life. And you've got the 4 of Cups. So this is the second time you've gotten that. This is burdock. So I had talked earlier, this card came up earlier, burdock root. I used to cook with burdock root a lot back in my macrobiotic cooking days. And burdock is like a deep, deep root. It's like brown. It looks like dirt. You like wash it a bunch of times. It still looks like dirt. But it's used for grounding. It's really strong, rooted. I heard that if you have to dig it up, it's really hard to do. So you've got this rooted energy of burdock. And it's interesting that they're like, she's looking at that 3 of Cups again. And the 3 of Cups was here too, right? So you keep getting like, you got 2 3 of Cups references. We're talking about the house of your friends and your dreams. So you may be looking at your social life, which the 3 of Cups is often represented as, and just kind of like wondering, not feeling clear. Maybe you don't feel really grounded in what the big picture is or what your friendship picture is. But the cup of satisfaction is being handed to you. Okay, that 1 cup coming out of the clouds. So there are some new viewpoints. I think it's a lot about viewpoint. And I think there's one new friend arriving. Now, the 12th house is Pisces' house. It's called the house of the undoing old karma, old behaviors. It's the house of secrets. Think of it as a house of retreating. It's associated with drugs and alcohol because the 12th house is like when we want to numb ourselves out because we feel too much. So sometimes we have to find healthy ways to do that, stepping back, being creative. And you have the 7 of Cups. This is your second time getting the 7 of Cups. You also had it in the 2nd house. This is juniper berry. And juniper berry, I know like juniper berry oil, essential oil, is used for like night terrors, fear in general. But a lot of times if you have like problems sleeping, you get really scared, juniper is a great essential oil to diffuse, right? I also love the taste of juniper. Like isn't juniper in gin? Not that I drink alcohol anymore these days, but I love that taste, right? Like tonic with with juniper berry in it. So there's something really revitalizing about juniper and kind of helping us calm our fears. Okay, so it seems to me that there's a lot of emotion going on. There's a lot of worry about money. There's a lot of lack of clarity here, but there is like saying like appreciate nature, get out there, nurture yourself, soothe yourself. Connect with your partner, whoever you consider partners in your life, whether that be human or animal, because I see a lot with like dogs here. And so I just see things shifting, but I see like you're kind of like almost get a little bit hopeless. Maybe it's in the friend regard or maybe just feeling lonely or emotional. But really, this is showing me that things are going really well. You may have to cry a few tears and take a little downtime and revitalize yourself. But I do think that some things are going to move forward for you. And it looks good to me, Aquarius, okay? So cry when you got to cry. Get out in nature as much as you can. You got a lot of things about like work things, money things really coming to almost like a conclusion where things are going to shift and you're going to feel a little better about that, okay? Now let me roll you some dice. Got the South Node in the sign of Capricorn in the 5th house. Okay, South Node is the past, right? It usually indicates like past life, but it could just be all the things you already know. It's the cup of the past. So you got the cup of the past in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is your career. It's like your disciplinarian parent. And that's where you had the Earth Mother, the Empress up there in the 5th house, the house of fun. So I do get the sense that you're like holding on to some old things. It's almost like something your parents told you or something you picked up along the way that's like running in the back of your mind that you're like, no, I can't do that. No, I'm not supposed to do that. Oh, that's not fun, or that's not the way to have fun, or something like that, because the 5th house is showing up, also the house of creativity. So I think it's time for you to really look at like the way you're talking to yourself, and there's like some restriction you're putting on yourself, and that needs to be addressed. And this Virgo purge, that full moon along with the eclipse, is going to be a great time to purge it out. So I would just write down a list, keep a ongoing list going this month of the things that you say to yourself. You know, I hear myself say things to myself that like my mother used to say or my father used to say, and they're not always nice. And so those things got to go. And that's what I see for you here, Aquarius. Okay. Remember, you're going through a lot of change. You have Pluto in your sign, and that's not something to take lightly, okay? But remember, Pluto's house is this one up here, the 8th house, and that's where you had the Salvador Dali King of Coins, all right? So you live your unique life, do it your way. Take this Venus retrograde to really look at your relationship with money. I do think things are shifting for you. Now, I'm going to give you some power days. You rolled Capricorn, and the moon moves into Capricorn on Saturday, March 22nd at 3:29 a.m. And it stays there Sunday and Monday. And then it moves into Aquarius, which you are. So I would continue your power days through Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday until 3:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday or on Wednesday, March 26th. You also rolled Leo. So we're going to give you a couple earlier dates in the month. The moon moves into Leo on the 9th, Sunday the 9th, 6:59 p.m. It stays there the 10th and the 11th and into the 12th until 3:56 a.m. Aquarius, you got this. Have a great month.